Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are so excited to bring to you another session for our dynamic 2021 Leadership Institute of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs, Incorporated. This institute is one of several wonderful professional and personal development opportunities that the NANBPWC Inc. does provide to not only its members, but also our community as a whole. I'm sure you are so excited for what's coming your way tonight. But before we begin, we definitely want to acknowledge our wonderful leadership of this beautiful association who has put their heads together and brought the vision to life to be able to bring to you this program this evening. I would like to highlight our 24th National President, Sherelle T. Carper, as well as our National First Vice President, Dr. LaTanya Conley. Because of their vision, we have been blessed with so much information that's definitely going to revolutionize how we go forth as leaders in today's society. This program, the Leadership Institute for 2021, has been brought to us by our own Dr. LaTanya Conley, who under her leadership focuses on programming that is going to enhance our leadership style, whether it's in an organization or on the corporate or business side of things. So we definitely want to thank you, Dr. Conley, for this opportunity. The Leadership Institute of the National Association of Negro Business and Professional Women's Clubs, Incorporated, is one of 3 institutes that are provided to our members as well as non-members. The Leadership Institute is joined by the Entrepreneurship as well as Technology Institutes. We do want to acknowledge those of you that are with us this evening that have taken part in our other programs. Please keep your eyes and ears open because we do have some additional information coming to you shortly on other opportunities for professional and personal development. Let's talk about tonight. Some of you might be asking yourselves, why are you here? Possibly it's because you want to learn current leadership trends to enhance your brand. Or could it be that you want to commit to applying these learned strategies to enhance your personal and professional life? Or simply you're here to build your professional network? Whatever your reason is for joining us for this evening, we hope that you walk away with some amazing strategies and tools that are going to take your leadership to the next level. Throughout tonight's session, please make sure that not only are you interacting with tonight's presenter, I can't wait for you to meet her, but also please utilize the opportunity to share your thoughts with fellow Leadership Institute participants in the chat as well as the Q&A. So ladies and gentlemen, if you decided that you are in the right spot, clearly you're here for Module 3 on Transformational Leadership. I'm not sure if you all are ready because I know something huge is coming to you tonight. Our presenter is going to bring something so special and definitely something that is applicable to today's environment. So be ready. Make sure that you have those notebooks ready. Make sure that you have your pen in hand. And ladies and gentlemen, let's not keep you because we do have to transform our leadership. But I'm sure you're wondering who this person is that you're hearing behind the scenes. Well, that is none other than myself, Cheryl McKay. I am your program assistant for the NANBPWC Inc. Leadership Institute. And just a little bit about me, I do mean a little bit because it is not about me this evening. But you might hear that accent. It's a little blend of a little New Jersey with a little bit of North Carolina. I am a New Jersey native, and I currently reside in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I teach secondary mathematics. I've been doing so for quite a while now. but I'm excited because I'm also a member of this wonderful organization where I have served in many roles over the years. But like I said, it's not about me. It's about your instructor, Dr. Deborah R. Jackson. I don't know if you all are ready for her, but I'm going to make you ready. Dr. Jackson currently serves as a lecturer of education in the Curry School of Education, Educational Leadership Foundations and Policy at the University of Virginia. Additionally, she is the executive producer and host of the Rotary Times TV show, designed to interview community leaders to share how the Rotary builds partnerships that support local, national, and world communities. Dr. Jackson, has progressed through various instructor positions in the county before moving into administration, where she served as principal at both the middle and high school levels. Subsequent to the principalships, she became special project administrator and interim director of the Office of Equality and Employee Relations in the Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources Office. During these assignments, she led the redesign and implementation of the FCPS System Teacher and Administrator Evaluation Program. This was very critical to the county's compliance with No Child Left Behind initiative. Dr. Jackson shares her knowledge and experience through publishing, leading educational leadership development sessions and symposia, and serving on academic and community organization boards. She is, I'm so excited about this. She is also an active member of the Northern Virginia Business and Professional Women's Clubs of our beautiful association, the NANBPWC Inc. In addition to that, she is a member of the Rotary Club of McLean, Virginia, as well as several other boards. She's also a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Lambda Kappa Omega chapter, where she previously served on the board of the chapter's Educational and Charitable Foundation. Dr. Jackson has earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Political Science, a Master of Business and Public Administration degree, and a Doctorate of Education. I'm not going to keep you much longer because I'm sure she's going to let you know a little more about her, maybe a lot more about her. But as we transition into tonight's module, I want you to ask yourselves, are you up for the challenge? Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to learn about transformational leadership, but I just want to leave you with something to just think about as we transition into this session with our wonderful presenter, Dr. Jackson. Transformational leadership is a leadership style in which leaders encourage, inspire, and motivate employees and/or membership to innovate and create change that will help grow and shape the future success of an organization or company. This is accomplished by setting an example at the executive level through a strong sense of corporate culture, employee ownership, and independence in the workplace. One well-versed in transformational leadership, quote unquote, believes that this type of leader will always inspire and motivate without micromanaging. And they trust their employees or members to take authority over decisions in their assigned jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, it certainly is a management style that's designed to give everyone more room to be creative, look to the future, and find new solutions to old problems. And tonight, will unlock, quote, the key to transformational leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for our association's own Dr. Deborah R. Jackson? Dr. Jackson, you have the mic.
And thank you, Cheryl. It's my pleasure. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Creating Transformational Leaders, Building Your Leadership Capacity. As I listened to Sister Cheryl, I was trying to look around in the office here and say, who's she talking about? I was just so thrilled. I said, well, I want to learn from that person myself. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to invest in you. I know that many of you have worked today. You've had a long day. So it's about you tonight. But I also want to just give a shout out to all of the states that I saw clock in: Connecticut, Maryland, my hometown, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Georgia, Virginia, where we currently are now, Delaware, North Carolina, New Jersey, and on. Thank you all for coming into this space, this virtual space that we are dealing with tonight. I'm going to bring me up now, if we can just hold a minute. Here we go. Okay. Yep. So we just need to get back to the beginning here. All right. All righty. Again, welcome. I am so thrilled to be here. And again, I know that you all have spent that time in jobs, and if you're like me, this is probably my third Zoom call today. So I know we're all a little zoomed out. So I promise you I won't hold you long, and I promise you I will not waste your time. Okay. My philosophy is always that you have an idea who's in the room, who's talking to you, who's this individual. At least that's what I tell my students all the time. Like so many of you here tonight, I'm a wife, a mother, I'm a nana of 6, I'm a relative of many, a friend, a scholar, an educator, a lifelong educator, I might add, a consultant, a community leader. I take pride in my advocacy for social justice and civil rights. I'm currently the Director of Education of the Northern Virginia BPW Club in the mighty Mid-Atlantic region. Someone already said it. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, Lambda Kappa Omega chapter in Fairfax, Virginia. But why I'm here tonight, because during my life's journey, I've had an opportunity on many occasions to hold various offices at the national and at the local level, as a president, as a board member, as a secretary, as a treasurer. Treasurer is probably my least favorite role. Director, committee chair. But what I hold most to is my passion about leadership and leadership development. I do believe that rock solid leadership to advance change is our only option. So what about tonight? You've heard Sister Cheryl mention what some of the things that go into transformational leadership. I just want to tell you at the end of this particular module, module 3, you will be able to recognize the qualities of leaders, examine the definition of leadership, review types of leadership, and explore the impact a leader can have on an organization, on a club, on a community. So tonight is about engagement. I want you to use the information presented as an opportunity to reflect on your growth. Find the big ideas tonight. Okay? You're not going to walk away with everything because you probably already know everything, because BPW is full of leaders. But I want you to find the big idea that you can commit to maybe over the next day or week or month or weeks ahead, that's going to feed you, that's going to allow you to continue your growth. We later at some point will have a quick break. So I don't want you to think that I'm just going to talk you to death. We will have a break. Wow, look at this picture. On January 20, 2021, Kamala Harris took the oath of office for the Vice President of the United States. She stepped into one of the most powerful jobs in the world, marking a historic moment in our nation's concept of what we believe to be as leadership. As the face and the style of leadership changes on the national level, we got to recognize that we're going to be pressured on the local level as well to continue to bring those leadership qualities to our various organizations and in our communities. Actually, we have no choice. We must do, and it has to be done. So when we look at Senator Harris or Vice President Harris, we ask the question, and you've heard this question over and over again, are leaders born or are they made? So let's get started. Leadership begins, as we all know, early in our lives. Back in the K-12 years, maybe during your career, but we pretty much are shaped by our parents. I know I was. Leroy and Della Jennings, those were my heroes and my sheroes, okay? We are shaped by our communities and the events that happen around us. Last summer taught us so much about where we're headed, where things were exposed as what needs to change as we look at diversity and equity and inclusion in our regions of the world. We're also inspired by words. And this young lady at the inauguration, and I understand she did a fabulous job at in the Super Bowl as well. Amanda Gorman, 22 years old. Wasn't she amazing, y'all? I was just blown away by her inspirational words and her poetry. 22 years old. So it doesn't matter the age. We can learn something from my 3-year-old granddaughter or this 20-year-old or 22-year-old. Qualities of leaders. We start somewhere. We know, and I can say these 12 or so, everyone here in the room is probably well versed in them. They've emerged during your undergrad years, your graduate years, through your professional careers, through your family and community engagements. When you think about leadership, you started somewhere. And most of us started as a follower. Okay? We started learning how to lean in and walk into our journeys because we don't know from day to day, from time to time, where we're going to end up. We just know that we need to be prepared for when that tap on the shoulder happens, you're ready. I know that happens in BPW because I see it over and over again. But when we think about the qualities of leaders, we see those opportunities to learn. You're here tonight. You see acts of integrity amongst women and men and those in your organizations, in your clubs, in your communities. We are now pivoting towards a shift in cultural differences that we have to manage each and every day that we wake up and we are alive and we engage with our environments. We're committed to making a difference. At least I know a leader is always committed. They're collaborative. You know, some leaders think, and there is a place for those leaders that believe that it's an individual act, but for the most part, we all know that leaders can be and will be very collaborative in their approach. They bring out the best in people. And I think I saw that in the chat when someone recorded their definition of leader. Leaders are insightful. They see things through different lenses, and they adopt those lenses to change. They are courageous. They take risks. They use feedback, or they seek feedback. They're not afraid of it, but they learn from their mistakes also. So humility is a part of a leader. They're strategic planners, and they are responsible. Leaders start somewhere as a follower. You had an opportunity in the pre-session to record your leadership definition. And it didn't have to be a dissertation, just something fairly simple. It applies to you. It doesn't apply to anyone else. It's where you are in your career. Sister Cheryl, maybe we can bring up that Padlet now so we can take a look at some of those definitions.
Absolutely, I will do that for you right now.
while she's bringing that up, I want you to be thinking about leadership and the complexities that we see every day in our work environment, in our homes, in our families, in our communities. We live in a world where decisions require judgment, and that's what we're going to see as what your definitions all say.
Okay, Dr. Jackson, we just have a couple of comments. I could read them off if it's okay.
That's fine.
For you? Okay. So we have one comment here regarding their definition of leadership: a person that does not just delegate, but does the work alongside their people. They
Absolutely.
influence and inspire. I like that.
I do too.
All right, we have a few more. To lead by example, as I encourage and inspire my team members to speak, as well as listen to the ideas and suggestions of others.
Mm.
Leadership is seeing the value that others bring and allowing them to use it. Someone who possesses unique qualities that motivate people to achieve a common goal. They're a great listener and motivator. And we have some final ones that were in the chat. Thank you so much, everyone. We have a comment from Patricia Risher, and she said that leadership is the ability to lead a group of people towards a common goal.
Oh, yes.
We have two more. Leadership is seeing the talent in others, using that talent, and watching others grow as a result. That was from Janet Ford.
Okay.
And finally, and I see a couple of more comments in the chat as well, my definition of leadership is once you move on, the experience you gave at whatever level will continue on and things will not fall apart or stop just because you are not in a leadership role.
Absolutely.
You have helped others to be able to step forward without total fear, but with confidence. And I see here we have another, Deborah Carell, one who can develop the vision to meet the mission. And I see here, Pauline McKesson, leadership is both a research area and a practical ability to, quote unquote, lead, influence, or guide other individuals, teams, or whole organizations by an individual, group, or organization. And Renee Freeman said, taking good to great. Oh, I like this one. Taking good to great and putting the right persons on the bus. And that is all of our shared thoughts on leadership. I see motivate and encourage. Absolutely. A few people said they like that.
Wow.
Dr. Jackson, that is it.
Hey, you said a mouthful. I love it.
Absolutely.
I heard words that's described leadership, motivator. I heard goal setting. I heard value added. I heard listener. I heard lead by example. I heard delegate. I heard influence. I heard inspire. I heard seeing talent in others. I heard watching others grow. I heard influence. I heard putting the right people on the bus. I also heard research area. Love it. There's somebody that's got a person after my own heart. I heard develop a vision and good to great. Oh my goodness, these are just wonderful. And they all feed in to the definition that we will adopt for tonight. As I said before, there is no right or wrong. It's where you are in your leadership journey. So the two definitions that we want to leave you with or work with tonight is leadership as an expansion of a person's capacity to be effective in whatever that role that they might be engaged in process. It also, and you heard this through all of the adjectives and all of some nouns, we got some verbs, we got a little bit of everything here. Leadership occurs among people. It involves the use of influence, and it's used to attain a goal. So thank you, sisters, for your responses. Keep those in mind as we move through tonight's presentation. So effective leadership, we look at it in two different ways. We look at it from a management perspective, and we look at it from a leadership perspective. And the two are different. So when we're thinking about it and honestly, we could probably talk a whole week about this whole topic, but we don't have that kind of time. So we're going to distill it down to something very manageable so that we can get you through tonight. So leadership and management. Well, when we think about management, it's about coping with the complexities, the operational processes that one might be faced with in an organization or in a job or in your club or in your community. Depends on where you are. These all apply. Leadership then is about coping with change. It's about that vision piece, and I heard it come out a lot in your definition. But they overlap because it's about getting the job done. So you will want to be having a little bit of both, which is going to take us to our next activity. Here you see qualities of leadership and qualities of managers. We just talked about leadership being that area that engages the heart. Okay, it nurtures those talents that you might have and help you to develop those over time. They don't necessarily happen right away, but over time. Manager, we might be able to, those could be something short term, they could be learned, but they're there to help us move the operations forward. So one might argue again that leadership qualities can't be taught, or can they, or are they innate? But I think most people would challenge you to say that all of these things can be developed and nurtured over time, given the right experiences that you engage in. So that's why as a manager or a leader of an organization, you have to really pay attention to your people if you want them to grow and you're able to move them along. So as before we do this, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Gallup organization, but I actually love them. I've done strength finders through them for many years. And I got to tell you, I have watched my strengths change from, probably, it takes about 5 years, 3 to 5 years for a strength to actually change. But I saw my own emerge in very different ways that I was able to use to help me in my growth. And so if you get a chance, look at Gallup and their strength finders. And some of you may already be familiar with them and the attributes that they speak to are the qualities of leadership. We're going to do a quick poll because I want you to think about your current role and where you aspire to go next. Because it makes no sense for you to sit here through all of this and not be thinking about how do I marry that to what I'm doing and what I want to do going forward. So the first poll that's going to open up will have you tonight for your own education, not for anyone else. This is just for you to select 5 management qualities that you want to commit to developing or nurturing over the next few days, weeks, months. Sister Cheryl, could you bring up the first one? Thank you.
Absolutely, Dr. Jackson. Ladies, please take the next few seconds to fill in your answers. You can select up to five management qualities that you, of course, want to commit to nurturing and developing over the next few days, weeks, and or months. You have just a few more seconds. I know there's a long list of options there. Carefully think about that and let Dr. Jackson know which ones you're committing to nurturing and developing.
Okay.
All right, Dr. Jackson, we have about 30. Sorry, 40s. I'm so sorry. 54%, correction, 65%. Okay, ladies, let's get those votes in. We're up to about 74%. 4, 5%. Dr. Jackson, just let me know when you would like to close that poll.
It sounds like we're just about there. Let's give it a couple of more seconds, about 5 more seconds, and then we'll close out.
Okay, we're at about 81%.
Oh, wonderful.
All right, ladies, we're closing in about 5 seconds. All right, Dr. Jackson, the results are on the screen for you.
Okay, so these are folks that are looking at what they would like to work on. And this is about you. It's not about anyone else. So we don't even need to know who said what, when, and how. But we do want to take a look at rationale. These are some things that look at the job that you're in and how you manage that job in terms of moving forward. And there's, I want to say, that's something that takes patience, for you to work through with your employer or your team, because you always want to have a rationale. You don't want to just go into something without it. You have to have the why. Why are we doing this? It's not about the what, but it is about oftentimes the why. So that's great. All of these people, let's see, people are looking at consulting. 55% of you have indicated you want to work on that. Persistence, okay, 45% of you want to work on that. Problem solving, 76%. I join you in the problem solving because that's something we work on daily. Tough-minded, 36% of you are there. Analytical, and some people are very naturally analytical, and that's a little easier for them to do than it is for others. Structured, 52%, and deliberative. And I'm sure those of you, 41% are saying they want to be delivered. I'm sure you already are because you're on this call. Okay. Let's move on to our next category. You will do the same for leadership qualities, those things that you want to commit to developing and nurturing over the next days, weeks, months.
Ladies, again, we want to focus or shift our energy towards leadership qualities that you're going to commit to nurturing and developing over the next few days, weeks, and or months. Select up to 5. We'll give you just a few more minutes to think that through and choose your selections. Dr. Jackson, it looks like we have about 39% of the vote. Oh, I'm so sorry, ladies. We're up to almost 50% of our votes that are in. All right, let's get those votes in. We're up to about 68% of our votes. We are over 70% at this time. Please cast your vote so we can know which leadership qualities you're committing to nurturing and developing. 75% of our vote is in. All right, Dr. Jackson, let me know when you would like to close this out. We're at 82%.
Why don't we give them 3 more seconds and then we will close out.
I had to take that breath. That was an extended 3 seconds. All right, we are closing the poll. And Dr. Jackson, your results are on the screen.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Visionary. Wow, that's huge. Thank you for all of you who want to work on that. That is something I continue to work on just about every day. Passion, creative, flexible. Okay. Yeah, 48% of you want to do that. Inspiring, 57%. Innovative, want to be the disruptor, I guess, 59%. Imaginative, 40%. And courageous, 36%. Thank you. These are those qualities that you are going to be your guiding principles that will allow you to shape who you are as you model for others to follow. So thank you for that. Thank you. So leadership then, it is a philosophy, and you've heard what many have already said. You've heard what people have committed to. You leaders do four things. They influence people. The influence is huge. Leaders lead the others. Saying, okay, so you're leading the learning of others. So you are, when you're bringing people on board behind you, that's huge. I have had mentors, and I know many of you here have them also, who I've worked with for a number of years, and I value their messaging and their words, because I know when I'm working, and I have worked with these individuals in many capacities, but they continue to inspire me and lead me. It's about managing the business of an organization. If you're the leader of that organization, you have a responsibility to build the capacity of all the individuals there, whether it's someone that's working as a clerk, or you're someone who's one of your directors, or one of your lead supports, or your executives. It's your responsibility as that leader to do that. And you do it through managing yourself. Leadership is often too heavy to carry, and we all know this, because there's just not enough time sometimes, and not enough resources available to help us make it happen. So we are very limited, and that's why transformational leadership becomes very critical, because you can't do it all. You may want to, but it's not in you, nor should it be, for you to carry the heavy load. That should be distributed evenly amongst your team. But we make mistakes when we don't really understand. We have to step back. Okay, we make those mistakes by conflating leadership with position, okay, with a specific position, and ignoring the importance then of the position. Treating leadership as something that's inorganic. So we have to step back and understand what it is and what it isn't, if we're going to avoid making mistakes. Leadership is an action. It's not a position. We all have an inherent need sometimes to have a sense of direction and clarity around that as we look at our own purpose in life. But we have to understand where it comes from, because everyone, and I know everyone here, wants to be a part of something great. I tell people I'm retired now, and I'm working on my legacy years, and trying to inspire and give back and bring those behind me, those young people who are looking at leadership and wanting to know what that should look like for them in this space and in this time. However, when leading, you got to be clear, and you have to have a focus. You have to just imagine, just take for a second and imagine you're looking through a camera lens. And as you look through that lens, things appear clear. Sometimes they could be a bit fuzzy. And if that happens, then you've got to work on those lenses to adjust it, to bring things back into focus. So a leader eventually knows which way to go, and how to ignore the noise and the fuzziness that could cause those distractions. When you don't follow and you don't listen and you do the things we just said you shouldn't do, you become a leader, but look what happens to your people. You're a leader with no followers because they have retreated. Let's look at the two types of leadership we're going to talk about tonight very quickly. The two are transactional and transformational. If we look at the various categories down on the left column in blue, you see under transactional, the leader's source of power comes from the position or the rank, and they tend sometimes to use it. And that's not where you want to be in most organizations. You want to be on the transformational side, where your sense of power comes from your character, who you are, and your competence, and how people see you and view you. Your followers' reactions. Well, in transactional, it's about compliance. And compliance does have its place in some positions, depends on what it is. It may be the military, it may be police officer. Some of those more compliant positions that have regulations that must be strictly adhered to, then that may be where transaction comes into play. but you definitely still want to have some transformational as people look to you to be committed just like themselves to what you're doing. The time frame, we use transactional for those short-term ideas and ventures. We use transformational for long-term. We look rewards, transactional, pay, promotion. These are the carrots that we can hang over people's heads to get them to do what we want them to do. Transformational says, I want to do it because I have pride in myself and in the project that I'm working on. Supervision, transactional, it's important. The supervisor is important in that case. Transformational, supervisor may not be important. I heard Sister Cheryl say earlier, or someone say, there's a project that's in place that moves forward with or without a leader. The leader is there to kick it off, inspire it, get it going, but they can step out at any point in time and everything still continues and successfully. Counselor in focus. Transactional is about the evaluation. Transformational, it's about development. When we instituted the new evaluation system in Fairfax County Public Schools, we refused to even call it an evaluation because evaluation is more aligned in people's thinking with I gotcha. And we did not want administrators or teachers to think that that's where we were, because we were not. We wanted them to be developed. So we actually called our program the growth and development model. Where changes occurs, followers they behave because they follow naturally because it's something you've held over their head. Transformational, these followers because of attitudes and values. Okay. So where there's leadership, we have leaders, they're shaped again by their behavior, but followers on the transformational will be about the heart. Transactional, we just described that for you. Those are those carrots you can hang over one's head. You can help them by telling them they have to do this, that, or the other if they are going to be successful. Those are the ones that, as I said a minute ago, there are places for that. It can be very effective in the right setting. You think about this, a transactional leader is a coach. Okay, when they coach sports teams, those are good examples of transactional leadership. We heard about transactional leadership in our last governmental administration. We heard that those kinds of things where people somewhat barter, you give me this for that, in return. Wherever you have rules that can play out and allows for very little flexibility, you can have transactional leadership happening. But you want to not, because most of us, in our cases, because of our where we are in our roles as leaders at the top, we need to be more transformational. And that takes us to looking at that, transformational leadership. There are 4 types that you want to consider: idealized influence, inspirational, intellectual, individual, and most of us are very much familiar with servant. It's about inducing those people who follow us to act towards a certain goal. Okay, we look at the wants and needs, the aspirations, the expectations of both the leader and the follower. They really consider each other's roles. There's a genius there in how we manage all of these things and as we bring them together. But let's walk through each one fairly quickly. Idealize. We already said that's where you get to your role model, your coaches, your mentors, anyone that can follow. You admire that individual. They're respected. You want to emulate them. You want to be like them. I always say everyone should have a Mrs. Tillman in their lives. Mrs. Tillman was my junior high school English teacher, and I thought the world of her. I thought she was awesome, and I wanted to be just like her. Actually, she inspired me to AKA because I wanted to dress like her too, because she always wore pink and green. But idealized influence in leadership involves having integrity. It is a form of ethical and moral conduct that's displayed. You trust those that you feel that have moral, manners about them. Inspirational. We know this gentleman here, A leader that's inspirational is one that not only knows the way and goes the way, but shows the way. We know they're visionaries. I can put Dr. King in that category. Susan B. Anthony was visionary about, when you think about voting rights. John Lewis, one of our icons from today. Well, we think of them as individuals who have meaning, who have vision, who see beyond where we are. They don't stop with, let's stop here. They go beyond. In my own community here at home, I see kids who are trying to match and look at food insecurity amongst their peers. They're coming up with all kinds of ways to make things happen to address that situation. That's innovative, and that's far thinking, future thinking on the part of those kids. So inspirational motivation, refers to the leader's actions to be able to just inspire others. Here's John Lewis. As again, we got someone who looks at the ways of viewing a problem. He's focused on not the what of the problem, not the who, but the why and how it can be solved. So he encouraged us to be disruptors. He encouraged us when we see something wrong to do something, get in good trouble. You know, we need to do more of that. He provides that intellectual stimulation that most of us need when we talk about problem solving. And there are many problems out there today that need a lot of creative solutions. And we need to be encouraging those behind us and in front of us to make that happen. Individualized consideration. Here we think about an individual who looks at the whole person. They look at the person, the follower, the person that's the coach, or they listen. And with some of the descriptors that you gave earlier, they discuss, they're empathetic. You know, they want to solve the problem. They have great interpersonal skills and they have genuine compassion. These individuals, you know, when you're working with them, they're about recognizing you, the team. They're not about recognizing themselves. In fact, they do not recognize themselves. They do recognize and encourage ongoing, areas in their team. So they offer courage. They sacrifice themselves in order that the team can grow and be successful. And then finally, the servant experience. They lead by example. They show people why the job is important. They encourage collaboration and engagement. They help, in this case, your club or your organization grow and develop. They care about the members or the club members or the organization. They care about people personally. And they ask for feedback. They're not afraid of it. It helps them to grow when they could have it. As a social studies and history teacher in my previous career, I used to have the kids to evaluate me at the end of every year. And my colleague teachers used to say, why do you do that? You know, it's just going to make you cry because they're going to say, well, they didn't like it, or you did this, or you didn't do that. And I used to say, that's probably true, but I have to have it because I need to know how I can be better. And how, if I can be better, I can make them better students. So it's about satisfaction and being collaborative with others. You know, this servant leadership is, you step away. You remember, man does not live by bread alone. They sometimes need a little buttering up, so, or not. So it is about self-discovery when we think about the servant experience. But we also know some of those, and we've watched them so we could see it play out. Barack Obama, John Maxwell, Harriet Tubman, Dr. Miles Monroe, Mother Teresa. The core of leadership is people. And one of the greatest fulfillments in life, as we know, is the act of service. So being able to respond and act for others. What makes leaders derail or be successful? In this case, those that have the ability to develop and adapt, you have a 55% chance of success. If you can establish strong collaborative relationships, you have a 50% of success. And if you're intelligent, which that goes without saying, and we have that all right here on this call, you're already there. You consistent, exceptional performance. So you provide consistency. You're not all over the place. You have a 45% chance of success. You're a strong communicator, 45%. Strategic and visionary, 40%. Business and technical expertise, 35%. Non-authoritarian, that's 25%. Willingness to take risks, 25%. Ambitious, well, 15%. Integrity, 15%. Skilled at managing upward, 15%. These statistics come from the Center for Creative Leadership in their 2012 survey of leaders. So when we think about what they're telling us, we can see ourselves or not. Those derailment factors, similar. Inability to develop or adapt, 60%. Poor working relations, 50%. Inability to build and lead a team, 40%. Poor performance, 30%. That individual who just feels they just have to have that authoritarian style, 30%. Too ambitious, 15%. It's nothing wrong with being too ambitious. What is how it plays out that gets people in trouble. We all want to be successful. We all want to reach the stars, but it's how we do it that matters. Not prepared for the promotion that you get. Always prepared, 10%. Conflict with upper management. Well, you gotta like your boss. You don't necessarily, or learn to work with them. You don't have to love them, but you do need to learn to work with them. So that takes you to, what do we do about it? And we have 5 dysfunctional leadership styles that we're going to discuss. But at this time, it's time, I believe, probably for a mental break. So we're going to break for 5 minutes, and then we will come back and we will walk through the 5 dysfunctions leaders face. Sister Cheryl, we're ready for our break.
All right, ladies, we're going to take a short break. Please go and enjoy yourselves, refresh, maybe get a nice refreshing beverage, and we'll be back with you in about 5 minutes. We'll see you at 8 p.m. Enjoy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get started in just a few moments, but just want to let you all know, I know everyone has been enjoying, as we can see, some of the conversation in the chat. They've been truly enjoying Dr. Jackson, this information on transformational leadership. And we know there's been some questions about the information presented this evening. And will I have access to the information so that I can have a refresher later on? But I am happy to let you know that as a registered participant of the 2021 Leadership Institute, that you will have access to the session recording, where you'll be able to review the slides as well as the discussions that were had regarding tonight's topic. So you will receive that information and access to that recording within 48 hours post-session. And that will be available for you from here on out. All right, so hopefully we have some smiles in the audience with that little announcement there. And Dr. Jackson, we can begin.
All righty. Thank you. Let's bring it, see if we can get back in. All righty, great. All right. So the 5 dysfunctionals of a leader, because this is important because you got to be able to stay clear of those things that get you in trouble. So when we know how to avoid things, let's take advantage of it. So we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up. We're going to start with the absence of trust. So what is trust? Well, it simply makes no difference who you are, okay? But it's how you feel about an individual. And that's critically important. In the context of team building, trust is the confidence that you have amongst your peers or your teammates that they got your back, that they are good and that there's no reason for you to be careful because they got your back. We have a couple of members in my BPW club. I got to tell you, when those ladies give me a call about whatever, doesn't matter, I respond because I trust that whatever they're asking me to do or whatever they're asking me to take on, I trust that they see there's good in it and I want to be a part of that. So trust is one of the things that's probably the most important. So leaders, when trust is absent, this is what happened. You're concealing your weaknesses and mistakes from others. Okay? So people pick up on that. You're hesitant to ask for help or provide constructive feedback. I never shy away from asking for help because I only feel like I got to get better, or what we're doing is going to be more effective if I have what I need. You hesitate to offer help outside their own areas of responsibility. We often hear people say, well, that's not my wheelhouse. I don't go there. Well, I go there, but I think about it before I go there just to make sure that I have something to contribute to that area. Because if we think and look at what people are doing or asking or saying, you may find some connections that you can make with it, which allows someone else to grow as well. Absence of trust, you jump to conclusions about someone's intentions and aptitudes of others without attempting to clarify. You fail to recognize and tap into one another's skills and experiences. All of this happens when we do not trust. We waste time and energy managing our behavior just for effect, because we know it's not going anywhere, but we have to show face in some way. We hold grudges, and oftentimes it's just lack of a good meeting as a result of that. What can leaders do to foster trust? In the Q&A, would you please use that window and just list 1 or 2 things leaders can do to foster trust?
Ladies, definitely drop your responses to the proposed question in the chat or even the Q&A. And Dr. Jackson, you see we have a couple of responses for you in the chat.
Oh, wonderful.
We see here, they're coming in. Patricia said, be honest. We have some more, expose our own weaknesses and be transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, forgive.
That was a good one.
Mm-hmm. All right, keep your word, follow through, listen emphatically, open mind. Don't micromanage, know your strengths and weaknesses. Be true, be inclusive, don't slight anyone. Transparency, be genuine, be transparent again, consistent, rely on others, be honest, don't share other people's issues, coaching, confidentiality,
Oh, that's a good one.
be vulnerable,
Mm-hmm.
seek feedback and listen,
Mm-hmm.
committing, integrity, be consistent, be real and yourself, be empathetic, establish good communications with people, don't take the credit for others' work or words, be approachable, be truthful, trustworthy, reward. Some other things we have: be consistent, open minded, supportive, be honest, do not be messy, encourage, and inclusive. Again, be real. We have be honest and transparent again. Listen to others and think before responding. Seek feedback and listen. Be dedicated. Take responsibility for your mistakes. Don't throw people under the bus. Approachable. Be a sister when she needs a comforter. Be dedicated, approachable, transparent, genuine, allow a person to grow. Be a good listener and don't jump to conclusions. Be open, delegate to individuals and allow them to do the job. Welcome members to volunteer services. Be vulnerable with staff, be friendly. They have to be trustworthy. Own up to mistakes. Again, be open-minded. Listen and open to feedback. Pay attention to what people are saying. Empower. Empathize if needed. Pay attention to what people are saying. Communication. Be available and present. Do not gossip. Take responsibility for your mistakes. Don't throw people under the bus. Again, be honest and forgive. Listen and show trust in others as well.
Wonderful. Oh, you guys can't see me, but I'm over here just jumping up and down. These are wonderful, wonderful. And I just want to add to the list, model, model, model. Because all of the
Absolutely.
things you have here, these are the things we need to model for others. They need to see it in us each and every day. Thank you for your responses.
And Dr. Jackson, one final one: respect differences.
Okay.
Yeah. And just want to let you know, Dr. Jackson, I'm not sure. I know we've had a couple of comments in the chat. There is a little gray box over the slides. I know when you do move your mouse that it does disappear here and there. So I'm not sure if that's just on the computer, but just a little heads up. It does disappear here and there. So
Okay, gotcha.
yes, thank you.
Thank you all, and thank you all for the feedback, the wonderful feedback. Okay. So strong leaders know how to respond. And I don't know who's BPW and who isn't, but it doesn't matter because I just want to say, my BPW sisters, I know this happens in our clubs. I know there's trust amongst our membership because it's felt every time we have a meeting. So, but why? It's because our leaders in BPW, they admit weaknesses and mistakes, and that came out on your list. They ask for help. That came out on your list. They accept questions and input about their areas of responsibility. That came out on your list. Give one another the benefit of the doubt before arriving to a negative conclusion. That was on the list. Sister Cheryl, this is amazing. Take risk in offering feedback and assistance. That was on the list. Appreciate and tap into one another's skills and experiences. That was on your list. Focus time and energy on important issues, not politics. That one wasn't on the list, but the important issue was offer and accept apologies without hesitation. That was on the list. Looking forward to meetings and other opportunities to work as a group. Those things happen when we build trust in our clubs, in our organizations, in our offices, with our teams, in our communities. Leaders are wise, and we know they know when to retreat from a potential conflict when it happens. When you look at this slide, you can see why. Okay? It actually says it all. So conflict is number 2 on our pyramid. We're going to do another activity. The fear of conflict oftentimes results in a lot of unhappiness and bewilderment and things that are left unsaid. So leaders who engage in productive conflict know that the only purpose when we do it, even for short-term assignments, is to get at the best possible solution in the shortest period of time. Leaders who fear conflict, well, they have boring meetings. Okay? They create environments where there's a lot of back channel politics and personal attacks. Remember, that's when you have the meeting after the meeting. They ignore controversial topics because they just feel they don't know how that's going to play out. If you've not built those relationships with your team, that probably is right. You're not sure how that's going to play out. They fail to tap into all others' opinions. You know, oops, sorry, let me go back. Didn't mean it. I had a fast mouse, okay? To tap into all others' opinions. And instead of looking at the perspective of each member, and they waste a lot of time posturing, pretending like they know what they're doing, like they're on board with the decision, and they may or may not be. So that takes us to our next activity. I want you to take a look at a video. It's a short clip, but it also provides an opportunity for us to take a look at the potential for a conflict. Let's listen.
Ja, met mij. Vertel. Ja. Ja.
You heard it.
Dr. Jackson, oh my goodness. You know how I feel about that clip.
I know. We ladies and gentlemen, we just laugh every time we see this clip because we've all been there. But I want to do a quick poll because I'm curious, how many of you have ever experienced a situation similar to this?
If you've encountered that situation, please let us know by responding to the poll on the screen. Oh, Dr. Jackson, if I had, if I had the guts to do that, I would have thrown a couple of cell phones in my time.
Oh, I know. We see them in meetings, we hear it, but we'll wait to see what the response is. Because I know I've been there.
If you see the chat, a couple of people, hilarious. She deserved that. I wasn't ready. All right, we have about 85% of the vote in. And here we go. All right, Dr. Jackson, we've shared the results with you.
Yes, 77% of you have experienced that particular situation or a similar one, and 23% of you have not. I've experienced it, and when I saw that clip, I just could not stop looking at it and thinking, now, what would have been a better or healthier way to handle that particular conflict? what I'm going to do at this time is do an open mic. And we'd like to hear from one or two of you to tell us, what do you think might have been a better way to handle that particular situation? Because we know we sit in meetings and someone's phone goes off and they just start talking, or we are waiting for someone or something, and these things happen. What brave soul out there is willing to tell us what they might have done differently in this situation to keep
All
things
right, ladies, do we have any brave souls that are willing to come on and have a chat with Dr. Jackson regarding an alternative way that maybe might have been a way to deal with this conflict here? Oh, I see Pauline is ready to go. Pauline McKesson is coming on live with us. All right, Pauline. All right, if you could just unmute yourself. All right, there you go. Pauline, welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Pauline.
I would say to like the lady that's sitting right next to her, I would say, ma'am, excuse me, but could you take that phone call out in the hall somewhere, because there's someone here in the office right here where we're sitting, if you don't mind. That's what I would tell them.
And Dr. Jackson, we do have a few more hands up, if you don't mind. And I think possibly Dr. Jackson might have frozen there on the screen. We'll just wait for her to come back to us. So we're going to bring a couple more people over to join us. Pauline, thank you so much. All right, Jacqueline Knock, we're going to bring you on. All right, and Dr. Jackson, there you go. You're back with us. Just unmute yourself. All right, Jacqueline, we're going to bring you on.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Absolutely, welcome.
Okay, what I would do if I was sitting next to that person, I would do the sign, put your finger up to your lip. I would just do that, and then smile at her. Because that'll let her know that it's not quite appropriate, and that I am friendly, and I'm doing that in a good, in a spirit of goodness.
Yes.
And not attacking her, because some people can retaliate and and even get act out even worse.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's what I would do.
Any other comments? Can someone talk about how could that have let's put it in the context of a meeting, and this happened. Do we want to have some protocols or in our meetings about maybe cell phones? What do you think?
All right, Renee, you have the mic.
Greetings, everyone, from Lansing, Michigan. Renee.
Welcome, Renee.
Hi. Well, I would just kindly say, laugh along with her and says, you know what, I need a good laugh too. Would you care to share that laugh with us? And maybe she would understand that she's laughing too loud and needs to move to another area instead of staying there. She doesn't want everyone in our conversation.
There you go. Another way to handle it. Do we have maybe one other comment?
Yes, we have Threda Green.
Okay.
Hi, in that situation, if they're in a hallway, I probably wouldn't say anything, but kind of give her that gesture that that's inappropriate. But if we were in an office setting, in a meeting, I would have set some ground rules around the cell phone.
Right. And I would be with you that we have to establish some rules about cell phones, and we know that these things happen. Our calls go up maybe quietly, get up and move out to take the call. But as you can see, she was just having a ball. So.
Dr. Jackson, I don't know if you have a few more moments. We do have two other individuals that would like to share their opinions on that crazy situation.
Okay, let's hear them, ladies.
All right, I'll bring them both on together. All right, Ramatu, we have you on, and Rosalind, we are bringing you on as well.
Hi, everybody. I would just walk away.
Mm,
Just walk away and leave her. Yeah.
yeah. And that's an option, and that's a response. It's a legitimate one that you can get up and move, or you can get up and walk away.
And this is Rosalind, and I concur. I think I would have used more of the silent approach, body language, maybe even shifting my body around in a different direction. But I also think that in meetings, it is imperative to have the protocol
Yes.
and the rules regarding cell phones, because it does happen. But we all, protocols would help us to better manage and avoid those types of interruptions.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is always a time and a place. You have to read the situation and how it's handled. None of your responses are incorrect. They're all spot on, because you have to read the situation carefully so that it does not. We're about de-escalating and not escalating, but to keep it healthy going forward, as many of you have pointed out, you might have some ground rules. You might have some protocols in place that govern these things, because we all know that they will happen. Okay, thank you. Glad
And
you
Dr.
enjoyed
Jackson,
it.
we had just a little tech glitch a second ago, as you recall, so you will have to reshare your screen again.
Okay, I am. Oh, you want me to reshare?
Yes.
Okay. That means go. You want me to go all the way out and come back in then?
No. You just share your screen, your document again.
I can see it. You can't. That's what I'm at.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And we have just one, as you prepare to share your screen again, one comment just to make us all laugh. And I love her dearly. And I'm from the area, so I understand. Lori Ayers Hutcherson said, I think I have been a New Yorker for too long. I would have never escalated the situation with a physical action.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to end this and bring it back up, because it wasn't doing it, and I could continue to see it, but you guys could not. So I'll just reopen.
Absolutely.
There we go.
So while we're waiting on Dr. Jackson to bring her presentation back up.
Now, is it up? Are you seeing it? Are you seeing?
Not
Still
yet.
not seeing it?
So ladies and gentlemen, please, if you have a question for tonight's presenter, please make sure that you drop it in the chat or the Q&A. For those of you who are still asking for access to this wonderful presentation, just a reminder, if you were not back with us yet when I made the announcement, that you will have access to the recording. All right, Dr. Jackson, looks like you're almost
back up.
Absolutely. Leaders
All
who engage in healthy conflict.
Success. Success. Okay. All righty. We'll keep on going. So leaders who engage in healthy conflict, we all know you have great meetings. You enjoy going. At least I love being in meetings. The people, my colleagues that I enjoy being around, and they're trusted and were part of my team, we just always had a great time. In fact, we would go into overtime and never knew that no one ever looked at the clock. You look at ideas. You tend to get those ideas from individuals when they don't feel that there's a conflict there that they can share open and honestly. You solve real problems quickly. You minimize the politics. You put critical topics on the table for discussion. Here again, we're going to try this again. Lack of commitment. That's the next realm on our journey up the ladder of the food chain of our pyramid. Lack of commitment. It's one of the 5 team dysfunctions that when someone is unable to make a decision is maybe because they don't understand the team goals. They are not really confident in what the team is doing and maybe even the direction of the team. And they're afraid to say anything because of failure or that someone might not understand. I had a good example of this earlier this week. I'm working on a vision and mission statement for another organization that I'm a part of. And one of the young ladies on the team, we had gotten from the leadership a vision and mission statement. And it was well written, but it was a bit wordy because, you know, both should be very short, where people, almost like your elevator speech, where people are able to, you know, spout it out very quickly. And so we were asked by the leadership if we could have a subcommittee to come together and just look at that document and see what we thought, and maybe even attach some new language. Well, when we got together, the 3 or 4 of us, I discovered one of the committee members, she was open and she was honest. She said, I got to be honest with you, I don't know what we're committing to. I don't understand the mission. I don't understand the goals. I may be committed to them. I just right now don't understand it. So we have to make sure that when we know decisions are being made, that when we, you know, promote our ideas or our visions or our goals, if we want that commitment from everyone, we need to make sure that everyone understands and agrees to what we're talking about. So I'm going to ask you again to go into the Q&A or the chat, wherever you're most comfortable, and just answer this question. How do teams overcome lack of commitment?
Oh, Dr. Jackson, that's a difficult one there.
Yeah. How do they
Definitely.
overcome that?
So ladies, you heard Dr. Jackson. She needs your feedback. Use the Q&A tool, or of course, you can always resort to using the chat. Chat is always there for you if needed. And please provide that response. What do you do? Lack of commitment. What do we do?
What do we do?
All right, so we have a couple of responses coming in.
Okay.
Jacqueline said to ask members what their expectations are.
Okay.
All right, Lori Ayers Hutchison said, develop a common understanding or vocabulary. Include the team in developing the goals. Provide room for dissenting viewpoints and require team to back up their views. All right, Lori.
I like Lori's response. All of these are wonderful.
She's serious. She is actually the vice governor for the Northeast District.
Like I said, women here today, they got it all. They got it all going.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right. We got these responses coming in. Team building exercise to improve communication, to ensure that everyone is on the same page. Review obstacles and goals. That was from Rosalind. Janice said, ask, what did you hear me say? That's great, actually.
Clarify it, yeah.
A lot of people are too busy talking instead of listening. Ramatu said, inclusive, be inclusive. Alma Scott Busak said, recreate the team vision, mission, and goals with everyone's input.
Wow.
I like that. I like that.
Right, I do too. These are wonderful.
All right, our national first vice president said to be clear and concise with the explanation. And our national president, President Carper, said to be inclusive with the entire team.
There you go.
We have make sure they know they are valued and needed. That's from Patricia. Dahlia said to bring another respected leader in that is really good at selling the dream or goal, excuse me. Then
that.
Round it out.
Love that. Love it. Love
round
it.
it out
love
by
it.
Yes, I love this. Round it out. Okay, definitely. Janet said to clearly define the goals and objectives of the task to be completed and ensure everyone understands them before moving forward. Yes, yes, that is important. Sometimes people, you expect them to do something, they just don't understand what they're expected to do. Right. Patricia said, review the goals and objectives of the organization with the team. Ramatu, respect opinions. Renee said, build up morale. Michelle said to challenge your team members by helping them engage in healthy conflict. Definitely. We have 3 more. Cynthia said, by incorporating all members in the process from beginning to end, all steps may bring commitment. Katrina said, lack of commitment usually stems from lack of appreciation and validation. Equity of voice. Yes,
Love
and
it.
Joan said, schedule a meeting to discuss the issues and problems and develop recommendation. And as Joan McIver, the governor of the Mid-Atlantic District.
Ladies, we
Oh,
all
we have
need to
one
get.
more,
Oh,
strive
got
for
another one?
buy-in. Yes, strive for buy-in. That's from our national president.
All right.
Strive for buy-in.
You know, BPW needs to put out a book. You know, we could write a book with all of our leaders here today. We could do a collective, you know, series. That wouldn't that be wonderful? Yeah.
It actually would be. And Ramatu, the final one, the decision should be reached and accepted by all.
By all. Yes. So when we think about it, how to overcome it, we have several solutions. You heard all of them already articulated, but ensure the team members feel valued. I heard that. Volunteer involvement always works best when, you know, we can get people to just commit and you don't have to tell them they have to do it. Build clarity around the roles and responsibilities. Foster a sense of trust. Stretch your teams. Give people permission to fail. Examine what's the worst that could happen. Encourage creativity and novel ideas. And promote group identity. You all gave us all the answers when you talked about anywhere from developing that vocabulary, requiring the team to develop goals, ensuring you hear all voices. Somebody talked about, you know, a team building activity, review what the goals are and ask, does everyone understand? Do a round robin, making sure that you hear from everyone, you hear every voice. You gotta get used to hearing everybody's voice so that you know when you're not hearing a particular voice. Avoidance or barriers to change and development. And I know this particular slide is actually a little difficult for you to read. So what I knew that when you sent the PowerPoint out, once everyone gets it, if you get on this particular slide, you can always enlarge it and you will be able to see many of the barriers that are listed, but I can read a few of them off for you. They anywhere from, and these are barriers that get in all of our way, garbled feedback, mixed messages, no feedback, don't understand the message, rewarded for staying the same, cost in time and energy, cost outweigh benefits. Maybe the benefits are unclear. Fear of manipulation, fear of the unknown, sheer arrogance, afraid to make mistakes, fear of failure, don't know how to change, no opportunity to practice, no role models to follow. I've been successful as I am. I don't need to change. I'm comfortable like I am. I don't want to look stupid. There's no support for me to do that. The context not changed, it's still the same. I'm just too busy. No incentive to change. This feels incorrect. Negative feedback makes me mad. It hurts to hear bad things. Don't trust feedback giver. Others don't know the real me. Too lazy. And it goes on and on and on. So when you get this PowerPoint, please feel free to, hit the little enlarge button and they will blow up so that you'll have them all. And these are the things that get in our own way. That's why we call them barriers. They don't allow us to change and develop because we want to, but something happens. And we tend then to interact with whatever that is that happens that doesn't allow us to continue growing. So number 5 on the pyramid at the top, percentage of events where capacity building occurs. If we look around and see when and where we learn, where our learning comes from, 17% of it comes from other events. 22% comes from learning from others. So it's very important. 27% comes from challenging assignments that we receive that we might not really be ready for. Or 34%, and that's how most of us learn, is through hardships. You know, we learn by doing. We learn because of a given situation that we've been tossed into. All those things add up. But Robin Crow, who is an author, who I have enjoyed a lot of his literature because I participate in a number of leadership institutes, says to exceed the expectation of others, we must first raise the expectations of ourselves. That's what leadership is all about. Okay? And so that brings us to our final set of polls. And here I'm going to ask you just to reflect on the ideas presented tonight. And there are 3 separate polls that I want you to pay attention to. And you'll have about 60 seconds to kind of get through each one. Sister Cheryl, are we ready?
Absolutely, we are ready. So we are going to pose your first reflective question. All right, so we want you to select all that apply to transactional leaders. You've heard a lot of wonderful information, and Dr. Jackson, there have been some wonderful comments in the chat. Just really appreciative of tonight's session and appreciative of you. So why don't we show her how appreciative we are by reflecting on tonight's presentation and selecting all of the selections that apply to transactional leaders. All right, we have about 11% of our vote in. All right, votes are coming in. So Dr. Jackson, while these votes are coming in, we're at about 35%. I do want to thank you personally because you got me thinking. I think the need to inspire, to encourage and motivate individuals. I know that's not easy for everyone, but it's definitely something that I try to do myself. So thank you so much for just kind of giving me some food for thought.
Absolutely, absolutely.
This.
That's why we're here, to lift each other up and support each other's growth.
Right. So we have about 53% of the vote. We're nearing 61%. Okay. All right, and I know we haven't closed out quite yet, but we do have a couple of comments from Rosalind and Stephanie. Just a special thanks to you for this great presentation and a wonderful presentation. All right, we have about 67% of the vote in.
Okay, we want to go ahead and close out on that one. Okay, all righty, 62% of you said focus on managing and supervising their employees and group performance. You're absolutely right. They monitor their employees' work carefully to assess any deviation from expected standards. You're right, because that's where evaluations come in, or promotions based on some particular rubric of sorts. They promote success by doling out rewards and punishments contingent on performance. 53% of you said that's transactional. Transactional leaders work within existing organizational structures and shape their work according to the current culture, not the soon to be or the past, but whatever is current. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, all of the responses are correct. If you selected all 4, you're correct.
Oh, Dr. Jackson, you're trying to trick us.
Yeah, what can I say? Okay, poll number 2.
Okay, poll number 2. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please prepare for poll number 2. again, we want you to utilize all of that wonderful information that was presented to you this evening and select all that apply to transformational leaders. All right, Dr. Jackson, the votes are coming in. We're at about 35%.
Okay. All right.
We're nearing 50% now.
Wonderful.
And while those are coming in, the responses are coming in for you as well. Lori said that this session was well worth our time and attention after a long work day. 12, she called it the 12th meeting was the best. Thank you, Dr. Jackson.
Well, I promised I wouldn't waste anybody's time tonight because I do understand long days.
Right, and Janice McWilliams said, thank you for some reminders. So we have about 78% of the vote in. I'm going to end that for you.
Okay.
And your results are on the screen.
Wonderful. Look at that. Okay, leaders show individualized consideration to followers by paying attention to and meeting their needs. 83% said that, yes. Leaders stimulate ideas and creativity from followers by creating a safe environment to challenge the status quo. 87% said that, yes. Leaders have a vision that inspires and motivates followers to achieve important goals. 94% said that, yes. Leaders serve as role models, mentors, and I have a typo that should be or coaches for their followers. 94%. Ladies and gentlemen, all responses were correct. So no matter whether you chose 1, 2, 3, or all, you were right as it relates to transformational leaders.
All right, Dr. Jackson, I think you want to wrap it up with reflection point number 3. And ladies and gentlemen, you have a series of 3 questions in this last reflection statement here. So they're all true, false. So we want to give you a few moments to answer those. And Dr. Jackson, while we wait for those results to come in, just a few more comments in the chat for you. From Cami, excuse me. Thanks for a very informative and refreshing workshop on leadership style. Alma said, thank you. Very effective session. You were great. And remember, I know you mentioned about Zoom fatigue. And let me get that poll on for everyone. All right, there you are. Geraldine said, this is my 3rd Zoom. It was worth my time. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. She will make sure to share with her club and other organizations. All right. Okay, and sorry for the delay in the poll. There you all are. All right, so they are good to go. All right, and from our National First Vice President, Dr. Conley, she said, girl power.
I hear you.
Thanks, Dr. Jackson, for an outstanding presentation this evening. And definitely great teamwork, yes, between Dr. Jackson and I. Dr. Jackson, thank you for the opportunity to work with you this evening.
Oh, it's been my pleasure to have you as my concierge as we move through tonight. It's been wonderful.
Absolutely. And also, Dr. Jackson reminded me the other day, she is a product of our Technology Institute. Yes. And I forgot for a second. So, you know, when we talk about the wonderful programs that the association does provide, you're seeing it here. Yes. And now she's completely wearing a different hat.
But using the tools that you taught me.
Yes, there we go. Love it. All right, we have about 81% of the vote in, so I'm going to close
Okay.
that for you.
All right.
All right, there we go.
And wonderful. Transactional and transformational leadership are not mutually exclusive, and leaders often demonstrate traits associated with both approaches. True or false? 88% of you said true. 12% of you said false. It is true. Leaders use elements of transformational and transactional leadership as the situation calls for them. True or false? 92% of you said true. 8% of you said false. It is true. No goal or idea is too large for a transformational leader. And I'm not seeing the, oh, I guess I got to scroll down. That would help, right? True or false? 88% of you said true. 12% of you said false. There is no goal that's too large for a transformational leader. When they lead, no matter when you get respected and you have a vision and people are on board, oh my God, you can take them anywhere, in any place. So thank you for that, for working through those reflection questions based on what we learned tonight. I have, we should close out, okay. So as we begin to wrap up, we circle back to our question. Are leaders born or are they made? Well, guess what? The answer is in you. So when Madam National President looks to members to step up or lean in, it's about her engaging others. It's about her building the capacity of others as well as the organization. And I got to tell you, no one can say no to that kind of ask. I will leave you with a quote that comes from Ursula Brooks, and if you are Burke, I'm sorry, if you're Burns, if you're from the Northern Virginia area, but even not, if not, you know Xerox. She was one of past CEO of Xerox back in around 2009. And she left there. She was one of the first African-American females to head up a Fortune 500 company. She went on to Veron. I think she may have left there in 2020, but I know she still serves on a lot of different boards. But I'd like to leave you with her quote: dreams do come true, but not without the help of others, a good education, a strong work ethic, and the courage to lean in. So I leave you tonight saying my best to you, to each of you on your leadership journey. But I want you to remember something someone told me many, many, many years ago. Andy Cole is his name. He was responsible for leadership development in Fairfax County Public Schools. He said the stars can't shine until the sun goes down. Get out of your own way and open yourself up to new learning and growth opportunities. Thank you again and again and again for allowing us to learn together tonight. And I give you what everybody calls me at home, Dr. DJ. Those are my friends. So you now call me, please, Dr. DJ. And that's it.
Dr. Jackson, thank you so
much. Dr. DJ.
Dr. DJ, you got me want to bring some music out here. I want to thank you so much. I don't even know how to thank you. Everyone, thank you also, because you definitely provided that oomph that we needed to really kind of put that discussion on transformational leadership out there, and just kind of to help us to remember the importance of inspiring and motivating individuals. And I do want to remind you all that this is the third session. Before I actually bring Dr. Jackson on for just a quick second. So I want to remind you that this is the third session of the 2021 Leadership Institute. We do have one more session coming up, and unfortunately it is our final session. So if you are joining us for the fourth module, I do want to let you know that we're going to close out, and I don't think there's a better way to close out following what we received tonight than with hot topics in leadership. Whoa. All right, so we definitely want to make sure that you all are ready for that. So definitely prepare. We have a lot of wonderful information coming your way for this final session with our co-facilitators, and they happen to both be from Dr. Jackson's district. Mid-Atlantic district is serious this round for the Leadership Institute. So we will look at hot leadership topics for 2021 with our co-facilitators, Dolores Alexander and Rosalind Cooley Prayer. And if you don't recall, Dolores Alexander is our past Mid-Atlantic District Governor. So with that being said, let's talk about tonight, transformational leadership. Keep in mind that it is so important in order to be able to really do great things in your communities, in this world. It is important as a leader to make sure that you're encouraging, inspiring, and motivating not only employees, but even the members that are in the organizations that you belong to. So reflect on that for yourself. Share this information with colleagues, friends, family members. It's important. We need not only leaders, remember, not everybody, we have to be real, not everybody's an effective leader. We don't just need any type of leader, okay? But I think a transformational leader, as Dr. Jackson has shared with us this evening, is very important. So Dr. Jackson, sorry, Dr. DJ, correction, okay? I'm gonna ask you if you can, just to take 30 seconds to even a minute, and just think about a seed of wisdom, or maybe a couple of seeds that we should walk away with for this evening.
First, you should walk away with that what we're doing here tonight transcends anything that we've been doing in the past. I don't want to tell you my age, but I will, because I think I look good for my age. I'm 66 years old. And as I think about it, and you heard me say a little bit ago, I'm in my legacy years now. I'm retired, a grandmother of 6, a mother of 3. And the thing that I have walked into is a space that is allowed me now, maybe I don't know, maybe I feel freer, I don't know, to be able to think about leadership and what leadership I can bring to the table. And that's why I say, when you get that call or someone taps you on the shoulder, you step back. Madam President asked me to do this. And I said, well, I don't know that I could do this. I mean, BPW has some great leaders. What can I teach anyone? But I can remind people that we are needed. And those skills that we need have to be transformational. Transactional hasn't worked. And as a people or a person of color, I feel that we need now to step up, and we need to be those transformational leaders of change. So everything that we do, we need to be evaluating it and standing it up or measuring it against change. Is this situation better than it was before? Is it kinder? Is it gentler? Is it making a difference? Is it beneficial for those who are being a part or being affected? I have to measure everything against that. When I do that, I get to the leadership piece. I get to Gallup, who said I was a woo. I can't explain it, but anyone who knows Gallup and knows who a woo is, a woo knows no strangers, according to my husband. But I wasn't that way always. I grew into this by being developed and nurtured by others. You heard me talk about Miss Tillman. Find you a Miss Tillman. Find you a Dr. Blake. Find you those individuals that you can trust, and they're very strong leaders, and you've watched them grow. They're going to be the ones that push you and encourage you. And the other part of that is my faith. Before anything happens, I told Cheryl a little bit ago, before we got on, my internet was unstable. And I said, so how are we going to handle this? What's the backup? She said, prayer. I said, okay. And guess what, folks? We got through. So it was my pleasure tonight to be here. I want to see you again face to face. I look forward to district conferences where I can, also be with you, so we can have these discussions further. We need to keep doing this. We cannot stop here. You know, I have granddaughters. I try to pull them along because I want them, when I saw Kamala Harris stand there and be sworn in, I said, there isn't a woman out here today who can't achieve that goal. But you just got to make it happen. You got to get out of your own way. So feel free to call me. Feel free to email me, text me. I would love to have discussions with you. We can do a book talk. We can do whatever you'd like so that we keep this growth opportunity moving forward. So thank you all for tonight. Again, thank you for welcoming me into your lives as we go on this leadership journey together.
Dr. Jackson, AKA Dr. DJ. I want to thank you so much for this evening. We are going to make you proud. We've got a lot of food for thought. And ladies, keep the comments coming in. Dr. DJ is going to be looking at the chat as we close out. And I think there's no better way to close out properly than to have our national first vice president, Dr. LaTanya V. Conley, to bring us some closing words. Dr. Conley, I think you are unmuted.
Yes, good evening. I want to say, Dr. DJ, I'm sending much love to you from Elyria, Ohio, on behalf of the association. And as I say to people in my district, I want to give you a big girl power shout out. You have been phenomenal this evening. And most people know when I'm at convention, I'm talking about my peacock feathers. So believe me, I'm going to pull out. I'm peacock proud of you and all the things that you have shared on this evening. Can't wait to see you in person. And I just want to thank you once again for taking the time out tonight to share with us in this third module. Truly transformational leadership is where we are headed. And I think it's inspiring me and National President, my other twin, as we look for convention themes. I was just excited about saying that we should be leaders of change. Yes. And I think that's the resilient part of our Leadership Institute. We are leading by resilience. So again, thank you so much. And thanks to all who have joined us in this third module and who have been with us throughout the rest of them and the one that is surely to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is my celebration, okay? You all have seen it. Use the African tribes. This is part of a celebration. I celebrate every one of you tonight.
Yes, good evening. Thank you.
And we celebrate you as well. And ladies, I think that's it. So we want to make sure that you keep your eyes out for an informative email coming very soon with access to some goodies from this evening. So if you have any questions, definitely reach us at our Leadership Institute email, leadership.nanbpwc@gmail.com. And other than that, we want to make sure that everyone has a wonderful night. And in the words of Alma Scott Busek, I see it coming through. Everyone, good night and God bless. Be safe. All right. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.